One.
Hello, this is Miss Roos, and I am going to read to you from Jason and the Golden Fleece. Part 1, Chiron. Long ago, the sun rose over the kingdom of Ioclus and shone upon an old man leading his son by the hand to the misty mountain. Farther and farther they walked, over the marsh and the crag and across the rushing rivers, until the boy could walk no more and the old man had to carry him. At last, near the top of the oldest mountain of them all, they stopped at the mouth of a lonely cave. The old man put the boy down and whispered, "Do not fear, but go inside, and whoever you find, lay your hands on his knees and say, 'Please take me as your guest and student from this day forth.'" The boy went inside trembling, and there was Chiron, the ancient centaur, wisest of all creatures beneath the sky. From his head to waist he was a man, but below he had the legs and body of a horse. His hair rolled down over his broad shoulders, his beard curled over his brown chest, and his dark, mild eyes seemed to glow with a soft light. He held a golden lyre, and when the boy entered, he struck it and began to sing. The mountain is high, the sea is deep, the strife of kings makes all men weep. Go, hero bold, into the world, and bring you back the prize of peace. The boy listened in wonder. When the song ended, he ran to the centaur and would have laid his hands upon his knees, but Chiron said, "Call your father inside, Jason, for I know he is here too." When the old man had come inside the cave, Chiron said, "Welcome, O king. But tell me, why did you not come in yourself?" The king replied, "I thought you would pity Jason if he came alone, and I wanted to know if he would act like a king's son and show no fear." Then he bowed his head and said, "Peleus, the terrible, has stolen my throne. Now he rules as king of Ioclus. I beg you, Chiron, keep Jason here with you so that Peleus cannot hurt him, and train him to be a great man so that one day he can win back our throne and become king." Chiron nodded, then turned to Jason and said, "Are you afraid of my horse's hooves, or will you be my student from this day forth?" "I would gladly have horse's hooves too," replied the boy, "if I could sing a song like yours." Chiron laughed. "Sit here by me then until sundown," he said. "Then your playfellows will come home, and like them you shall learn to be king, worthy to rule over the gallant men." To the king he said, "Go home in peace, and bend before the storm like a prudent man. Jason shall not cross the river again until he has become a glory to you and to your house." The king went sadly home, but Jason was too excited to weep, for Chiron put a golden lyre into his hands and began to teach him how to play. And when the sun sank low behind the mountain, the rocks sang with the shouts of boys returning from the day's hunt, and Chiron and Jason leapt up and hurried outside to greet them. There awaited the young heroes: Aeneas, Hercules, Peleus, and many others with great names. Each showed the prize he had taken that day: a deer or a bear or a mountain lion, all but one, who stood a little way off from the others with his arms full of herbs and flowers and a spotted snake curled around his waist. His name was Asclepius, and of him Chiron said, "Each person is given some gift, and each gift is worthy in its place. But while others have given the skill to kill in the hunt, Asclepius has been given an honor beyond all powers, the power to cure." Then the lads brought in the wood and split it and lit a blazing fire. While their supper cooked, they washed in a stream that ran beside the cave. Then they ate until they could eat no more, drank the clear spring water, and took turns singing and playing Chiron's golden lyre. After a while, they went out to a plot of grass at the cave's mouth, where they ran and wrestled and laughed until the stones fell from the cliffs. That night, Jason went to bed, waiting for the morrow when he would join his fellows in learning to be a king. Part 2, The River and the Kingdom. For 10 years, Jason studied with Chiron. He grew up strong and brave and wise. At last, one day, he stood alone with the centaur at the top of the mountain. As he looked out over the mountains and the towns and the sea and the plains, he wondered what place he would take in the world of men. "Is it true that what the heroes tell me, that I am heir of the kingdom of Ioclus?" he said. "And what good would it be to you if you were?" answered the centaur. "I would take my kingdom back and keep it and bring honor to my name." "A strong man has taken it and kept it long. Are you stronger than Peleus the Terrible?" "I am," said Jason, "but there is no glory in that until all the world knows it." Chiron sighed. "You will face many dangers before you rule Iolcus," he said. such as no man has ever seen before. Then I will be happy, replied Jason, for what is better than to see what no man has ever seen before? Chiron nodded. The eaglet must leave the nest when it is fledged, he said, but promise me two things. Speak harshly to no one and always keep your word. Jason promised, and then with a joyful yell, he ran down to the mountainside. Down he went through the thickets and forests until he came to the raging river over Anaris. But so great had been the summer flood that the boulders shuddered like galloping horses. They shook the rocks on which Jason stood and tossed the swirling waters. Riverbank stood a wrinkled old woman. When she saw Jason, she whined, "Will you carry me across the river? You are young and strong, and I am old and weak. For Hera's sake, carry me over the torrent." Jason was going to ask scornfully, but then he remembered Chiron's words and said, "For Hera's sake, I will carry you across the torrent, unless we both be drowned along the way." Then the old woman leaped on his back, and Jason staggered into the river. The first step was up to his knees. The second step was up to his waist, and as his feet slipped on the stones, the old woman cried, "Boy, have you gotten my mantle wet? Shame on you for playing such a game with an old woman like me." Jason had half a mind to drop her and let her get through the torrent herself, but then he remembered Chiron's words and said only, "Patience, my lady. Even the best horse may stumble one someday." Jason struggled bravely through the wild waters and at last stepped on the shore. As he set the old woman down, he noticed he had lost one of his sandals. He gazed out over the surface of the rolling river and searched along the shore, but it was nowhere to be seen. Then he turned to speak to the old woman, but as he turned to look at her, she grew fairer than all women and taller than all the men on earth. Her garments shone like the summer sea, and her jewels sparkled like stars. Over her forehead was a veil woven with the golden clouds of sunset, and through the veil she looked down on him with great soft eyes. She said, "I am Hera, queen of Mount Olympus. You have done me well, so I will do to you. Call on me in your hour of need, and I will not forget you." Then she disappeared, and with new courage, Jason continued along his journey. I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to record the next section on a different recording.